Hey guys, Lumen02. I'm going to be playing some Highlander here. I'm going to be playing with Big Blue again, blue-white control, splashing black. But yeah, hand's good. I'm going to keep this one. Hand is certainly good enough. So, don't want to draw lands here. I don't think I mind drawing lands. We're playing 40-minute clocks here, so there is some time on the line. I'm obviously a little behind. I had to set up the video recording software here. So, Island go. And we'll see what my opponent is up to. MTG Shark. We're playing German Highlander here. I think I took the DT out of my deck, unfortunately, which is legal in that format, because I was playing Canadian Highlander, and I believe I replaced it with Ancestral Recall, because I would have been over points if I played DT and Ancestral. So I think I am short a card in this current version of it. Not a big deal. I think I actually hit 40 lands, which should be good for me in this matchup. Just land to go. I probably will not fetch here. I mean, I could Enlighten Tutor to find Search for Escanta. If they tap out for something, I may do that. Alright, they're blue-red of some variety. Alright, I'm not tapping out for anything then. Alright. Yeah, if they played like a JVP or something, I may go for it. Alright, land go. I'm going to try to get some equity off this Hieroglyphic Illumination. I could have cycled it, but right now what the play is try to complicate anything they try to proactively do. And if they do not proactively do anything, then I'll probably just end step a Hieroglyphic Illumination. Alright, they're a Grixis Pie deck. Well, if I had a 2-mana counterspell, I probably would go for Search for Escanta here, but as it stands, I do not, and I'm just going to try to get value off of my Hieroglyphic Illumination if they do nothing. And if they do something, then I will probably use Complicate and or Absorb to get it, but likely Complicate if that is viable. You don't slam here. This is a blue mirror match. They are likely the more tempo-oriented deck than over me. Yeah, Miscalc, fine. Yeah. Not planning to open mana. We're going to basically force the action on their end step here. And if they cause a fight, it's actually good for us. I'm not going to fight this card, but it's good for us that they're using up 1 mana here. These blue mirror matches, these blue matches, are always about timing. And a lot of it has to do with when you use your interaction, when it matters most. That's why cards like Daze and Force of Will are really good, because they kind of throw a monkey wrench in that math. So what I'm going to do is, he's looking for lands more than likely. Not action, but lands, because he's a pretty adept player, and I think he knows that the surest way to lose like the control mirrors is to get behind early on mana, because then you're just able to react less. So what's going to happen here is he missed his land, and he may have topped one. And what I'm going to do here is, in real life I'd be able to know this, but let's look at the game log. 2 cards on top, so he's got land coming up. He's got 2 lands on top of his deck. I think we can assume that. So we have 2 things we can do here. We're going to go for Hieroglyphic Illumination, I think, because that's a card that you really want to counter. You don't want to let me get too deeper. Or we go for Enlighten Tutor and get Search for Escanta. Because I kind of want to continue to hit my own land drops, I'm going to actually just go the distance here. So I'm going to get the Underground Sea or the Tundra. Probably going to get Tundra. I don't per se need black mana, especially if Demonic Tutor's out of my deck. The only reason to get black mana here would be to, would be to find, or to get mana for the back half of Mystical Teachings. So Hieroglyphic Illumination goes on the stack. The worst thing that could happen is they mana drain it, and that gives them a lot of mana advancement on their following turn. But they have to also know that, like, I think they pretty intelligently just let that happen. They're going to be discarding, which it really stinks to have to discard and not counter one of my spells. I'm not going to slam Jace down right now. I think the next fight's going to be, like, end step Enlighten Tutor, because, like, alright, they're running into the Royal. Alright, so actually, they're the tempo deck, so this is doubly bad for them. Into the Royal is a tempo card. It is a bad card in this matchup. I like that discard out of them. Alright, they hit their 4th land, so they have another one below that. I will almost promise you. Alright, Enlighten Tutor. This will be going for a Search for Escanta. That is the card that you generally want in this matchup. I don't think they fight this. They may. Alright, search. Alright. It happens. Okay. Now, I can only counter 1 time on their next turn, so there is some risk associated with getting Search for Escanta, but if they cannot pressure me, All right, so they're losing out on the card below. So they did top scry, the card below that. The big question here becomes, is it worth complicating this? What's the worst thing that could happen to me? They're going to be on 5 mana. Well, possibly. You know, I think because I have Oblivion Ring, I think I am comfortable doing this. They're going to have to recast this thing. I get a 2-for-1 off of this. I mean, they're going to be able to recast it out of the graveyard, but it's pretty strong still. Eat 4 mana for 3, and eat a card. All right, Cryptic Command's a strong one. Again, I still don't mind seeing lands. I'll probably top any lands. And I should not have 6 here because I could have Spell Pierce. All right, what do we have? Well, up to 5 mana. I believe they did draw that for this turn. Actually, I know they did because they topped, drew into a land the turn after they missed a land drop, then played Mystical Teachings because they were stuck on 3 for 1 turn. So, what do they have at 5? You have like a Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's like the worst thing I can think of, and I'm really not that scared of that because he'll get like 1 Brainstorm. It'll be a 4 mana Brainstorm, and then I'll just Oblivion Ring it, and then have up Counter Magic after that, and then kind of just get to sit behind, search for his Kanta, and look. So that's why there is some risk to complicating the Mystical Teachings, but I think it just makes sense to knock his leg out on Mystical Teachings and just take the free card. Take the 1 mana and the free card off of it. They'll get it back later, but that is a 6 mana investment at that point. And Back to Basics may lock him out before then. So. Okay, Dizzying Spell. Alright, so he's trying to Storm. He's getting High Tide. That's kind of cool. Well, if he can High Tide here, he can get me. He was using the Mystical Teachings to go for High Tide, I believe. So he's going to be running a lot of islands in his decks. They are High Tide Storm. Right now, I do not think they're probably going to go for it, though. They just wanted to get the card. Gosh, I kind of want to keep this, but with Back to Basics, I don't think I can. Yeah, I'm going to put it in the yard. Okay, go. The one cool thing about High Tide is I also double my mana up, and they're already down an island by using it. My hope is they did not hit a land this turn, because I really don't. If they go for it, I can double cast Counter Magic. Because I think the right play is to not try to counter the High Tide. Maybe that's wrong. Alrighty. Alright, I know I said I wanted to keep lands, but I am going to bin this so I can flip search. Yes. Because now the onus for action is on them. And I'm not going to play anything again. I still did want that land. I would love to make my land drop there, but I think it is more correct to get search flipped so we can force the action out of them. They cannot cast or recast their Mystical Teachings here. Now, what have we got? Intuition, you say? I'll absorb that. Hopefully they did not need that, or hopefully they did need that, because it could have been a mistake to counter that intuition. One of the problems I'm going to run into is I have a couple dead cards. I do have Oblivion Ring and Detention Sphere, which are not going to have a lot of equity in this matchup. The Walkers are really just going to be my finishers. That's how I'm going to have to play it. And I'm just representing right now that I have more than I do. I cannot counter more than one spell in this instance. We do know they have Tide, so that essentially puts them at 8 mana if they do not have a land drop. They have to ask themselves, is it worth it? If they do nothing and go to end step, I am going to look with search for his content. I think that's where I start pulling ahead. So pretty cool. High Tide should, in general, be pretty good against blue decks, just because it runs counter magic itself, and I don't know if his version can, but generally speaking, they can win at instant speed. It's probably a little harder in Singleton to win at instant speed. Okay. All right, this is going to get countered. If they have Daze, that's rough, but they're not probably casting it. I'm going to counter draw. I could bounce one of their lands, but I don't think that's right. Actually, I know it's not. It would be essentially like casting Daze for them. All right, so that is countered. Oddly enough, I'm going to play this out and try to chop one of their legs. I'm out of counter magic. I can't lie about that. I'm going to try to chop some of their legs out here and just say go. And they're down to 2 blue mana now, which means they're essentially down if they want to cast High Tide. All right, well, they have 4 mana now off High Tide, which is a significant limitation, obviously. The one issue with this is if they do opt to go for it this turn, I guess they can't quite. They can Frantic Search. They could cast it and then Frantic Search, but their chance of fizzling goes up a significant bit by making this play. Another option was playing out like my Teferi while they were tapped out there. They also kind of want to force me to have it as well, because if I have to tap these lands, I'm not getting them back under the back to basics. All right, I am going to go ahead and dig through time here. Part of me kind of also wants land, but you know what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take these 2 here. I need to leave the white mana open, so I'm going to actually spell Pierce this, which they could obviously pay for, but it's basically the same as countering it, hard countering it, because then there's just no mana open. I guess if they have Force of Will, then I can negate as well. Or, yeah, I can negate Post. I can negate whatever they play after High Tide. But this taps them out this turn. I like their play, though. I think they have to be a little aggressive there. Okay. I will probably Detention Sphere that if I cannot draw into a land. Alright, going for a Plains land or an island here. Island it is. Alright, going ahead. They're down a lot of cards. The Candelabra can start untapping their lands during my end step. I actually can stop Candelabra. They can untap 1. Yep, you got it. Kind of wanted to hit a Plains there more than anything. So if I hit a Plains, I would have just gone for it right there. And now they can untap 2 additional if they'd like. Crazy as it seems, I'm just going to take this thing now and then leave up Logic, Nut, or Negate. There are 5 cards. They can try to counter this. We'll get into a fight over it. And then I can go into Jace the next turn and start looking for white mana. Because once Teferi's on the board... Oh yeah, that is certainly not happening, my friend. No thank you. We got their land again. So Detention Sphere Eat this. And go. They do have me tapped out, so if they do have a way to deal with this, they could get me. But I've got a pretty free Jace next turn. I mean, I'd rather not slam it into open blue mana. All right, they got more blue mana. More Islands. We're basically at equivalent mana, though, right now. But I know I've gotten rid of their High Tide. And I'm pretty sure they need black mana and red mana to do Yawgmoth's Will or Past in Flames. So I think that's going to be their limitation. All right, Frantic Search can untap their 3 color-producing lands. That is a committed resource. So what gets me here? Yawgmoth's Will is bad. That's a pretty bad one for us. Like, if they have Will... We stopped a bunch of tutors, though, so if they had Will, like, just they had it in hand, that's very good. It's just strong. And I'll have to accept that. Okay, and Golf, and yeah, Golf's bad. Blue Sun Zenith is a very large commitment of mana. So maybe they're trying to mill. Maybe they're trying to use the old-fashioned High Tide win. I would assume they probably have a Tendrils or something in there, too, or Ignite Memories or something like that. All right, they pass it. Cool. All right, well, I don't think I can responsibly... well, that's a consideration, actually. What do I think of just slamming the Jace? I don't think I do here. I think I just wait. Maybe time's not on my side. Maybe I should just slam it and start looking for lands. Eventually, I will draw them. I'm a 40-land deck, so... All right, more Islands. Well, they got mana to do a lot, so we'll see what they got here. We are shockingly still deeper in our deck, though. Alrighty. Well, it's not helping us out much. That's a pretty bad draw. Basically, just want to draw land at this point. Specifically, basic plains. Okay. Definitely not countering an end-step Brainstorm. That's generally the weakest version of the card, or the weakest way the card can be played. They could have a shuffle effect to go with it. Or like a de facto shuffle effect, like Intuition, or Intuition's an actual shuffle effect. What's it trying to say? Impulse. It's kind of like a de facto shuffle in a way. I mean, you know 2 of the cards you're going to look at in those 4 are not going to be cards you don't want generally, but it does get rid of them at a minimum and gives you a look at 2 additional cards. Costs 2 mana, which is something. Okay. Alrighty. More lands. Oh, what have we got? A lot of lands in their deck. Or they're just hitting them. They have a bad pocket right now. Oh yeah, taking the damages here. Say go. I'm not going to try to slam Teferi. I'm going to wait for them to go. I think. I mean, maybe that's wrong because I do have bad cards in my deck like Wrath of God. It's like a Torrential Gearhulk. Mystical Teachings. Okay. I'm going to allow them to do that. I'm not going to try to stop that. They do lose a land on this exchange, which is kind of nice. They could be getting Time Spiral, which is interesting. Time Spiral we will fight over. That's enough mana that I think through 2 counterspells should be able to beat it. The problem is we won't have white mana if we do fight it that way. We'll lose it to our own back to basics. But, you know, we could draw a white land and play Teferi, which Teferi is kind of why I slammed this back to basics. I mean, I did figure they were on a high tide deck, but they had just played down a lot of their non-basics. But I had hoped, you know, to set up a line where Teferi came down relatively soon after back to basics, and I was able to untap my non-basic lands with Teferi, which is kind of like, it's an interesting little combo that works with it. I just haven't found the right time to do this yet. I'm wondering what they're looking for here at instant speed. It could be Snapcaster. Snapcaster does get, or Flash, it does get High Tide back. High Tide really would not benefit me greatly right now, because I don't have like 3 or 4 counter spells. I have just 2, the 2. I think the pickup is probably Snapcaster. I mean, because High Tide should be able to set up a win if they have the draw. They discarded Blue Sun Zenith, so I assume they have a different draw card in their hand, like some sort of other Stroke of Genius effect. And here, it'd probably just be best if they made themselves draw. Eventually, they'd make us draw, because it can go infinite with, like, Palinchron. Yeah, the Wrath of God, the Moat, none of these cards are going to be pretty bad in this matchup. That's going to be one downside of this matchup, is against essentially what amounts to a mono blue combo deck. Is that they're probably in general going to have more counter spells. They have bad cards like Engulf the Shore too. What does Mission Briefing do? I got to read this card. All right, Surveil 2. Okay. Okay. You may cast that card this turn, which I assume means you have to pay for it. Doesn't say you can cast it for free. So I'm going to allow this to happen and see what they get. I think it makes sense to understand their plan. They have 3 cards in hand. They could all be counter spells, or they could just be nothing. They have been drawing a lot of lands. So what do we get here? All right, we ditch this and Twister. Okay. And what do we get? Alright, I need to go look at the chat log, or the game log real quick, guys. Alright, chooses High Tide. I think we are going to say okay to that. Now it is out of their deck. I don't think we want to fight on this axis. I think we want to at least leave our Hallowed Fountain open. There's a possibility if they're using Palinchron to do the loop, we can Swords to Plowshares the Palinchron at some point, and we also get double Counterspell up this way. Without losing the ability to Swords to Plowshares. Now, it does lose some equity in Logic Knot, but I think it's going to be about mana advantage here. Okay, Mind's Desire. Okay. I'm going to say cool to that. I mean, that's 3 free spells. Alright, Misty is not a Nombo. That doesn't do anything. Merchant Scroll is pretty good. It's probably a Force of Will. And then Peak. Okie doke. Merchant Scroll could also possibly get Brain Freeze, which would be bad for us. Actually, I probably do need to counter the Merchant Scroll. That is one I need to probably counter. Yep, you got it. I'm not stopping that. I mean, it stinks that you know what I'm going to do, but at the same time, I'm not going to allow Merchant Scroll to happen. That's going to be the one I fight over, I think. They can currently pay 6, right? Yeah. I already have a Flip Discontent, but it's not doing much work right now. I have not lost my Snapcaster yet, right? Okay. So I do think the fight is over Disallow. Or is over this right here. I don't think I need this. Pierce, sure. Dig, probably this. And then probably this. That's 7. How much mana they got? 6. Okay. That is not happening. Now, if they have Freeze, they could just freeze me. Freeze is not lethal right now. And due to the random nature of Mind's Desire, I'm believing their story less that they have the win in hand. If they do, they do. That kind of stinks. But I don't think Merchant Scroll we could allow to happen here because, yeah, I think it can get a win condition here, which is problematic for us. All right, 2 into a counterspell. All right, disallow the Merchant Scroll into another counter. The thing is here, I'm just trying to eat up their mana because if they have to pass it back after this, like I'm trying to think of what cards actually untap stuff. And if they counter my disallow for more than... I mean, what could they have? What could they have, right? I do know Merchant Scroll needs to happen. But I think this takes them off of an untap effect like Turnabout, which would also be bad for me here. All right, well, I can't stop that, so you got it. You have got it, my friend, and if you counter me, and then you can Merchant Scroll for something, but it's probably not going to do something this turn, which at a minimum is good for me, and it takes you off of your colored mana resources if you counter this, it takes you off your colored mana resources, which is good for me as well. And they're short of High Tide, which is nice. That means unless they have, like, what else does it? Mana Flare. Mana Flare could do it if they're playing that in the deck. They're not playing green, so I assume they're not playing Heartbeat of Spring. Okay. Cool. Well, what else have we got? All right, that felt like a good exchange to me. I think we played that turn correctly. Okay. You know what, guys? As savage as it is, I'm gonna get this because I don't want to get spell pierced right here. This could be wrong. This is a risk. All right, they don't do it. I just don't want to get pierced. That would be a feel bad moment. All right, draw. Okay. All right, 7 mana, but no High Tide. I don't know if they can get me from this position. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a very tall order, I think. But we'll see. They're certainly not out of it. All right, what do we got? Just like a big thing? Like a palanquin? Okay, a time spiral. Well, that's going to happen. Alrighty. Well, I have a literal force spike in my hand, so I can't really counter much. This hand's not great, but that's such is life, right? But they're not on a High Tide turn, so they try to tap out for an X spell, which this deck does play a significant number of X spells. Should be okay. Alright. What do I want a Mystical Tutor for? Anything at all? No, probably not. Gonna burn this thing off. They can counter it if they like. Let's draw a card here. Just going to pass it here. Untap probably 2 of my non-basics. Okay. You go at it, my man. Oh, Shackle's not looking so hot here. Alright, more mana. And draw here. Muddle seems good. Just draw here. Island is solid. Alrighty. Do I want to treat next turn? Probably not yet. Okay. Alright. Probably should have suspended the visions, actually. That's possible. I feel like it's going to be very tough for them now, though. I mean, are we ahead on mana? We're very close, so we both have a lot of lands. I think we're a little ahead on mana. Not by a ton. But, 2 counter spells in hand. Factor Fiction, which is just an obscene amount of cards. Alright, more mana for them. I think we cause a fight on their end step here with Fact, probably. Remand, probably the best card in there for us. Any order. Can opt looking for a land, I think. Put on top. And right now we're just well, going for the ultimate on this gentleman right here. What is he at right now? 8. Get an emblem. Can exile all their cards. Well, exile all their lands, which seems pretty good. Go in the distance here. Mono blue combo versus blue white control. I have plenty to discard, so yep. All right, put these back to untap status. Go ahead and ditch a moat, and all right, we're gonna fight here. Turnabout. Okay, get countered. I don't have to discard, but I mean, not that Moat. Moat was pretty much a discard anyways, though. Moat doesn't really matter if it's in my hand or my graveyard. It's a dead card in this matchup. I don't think they're attacking me with anything, ever. The one thing we do got to watch out for is they could still brain freeze us out if we get low enough in library. It's one of our risks, but I think Teferi's going to lock the game up before then. All right, let's look. I'm going to fight here. Yeah, Force of Will is probably good. Plenty of cards to discard here. I don't need Factor Fiction anymore. I really don't. Because the way they will win is by decking me, and I think my hand pretty much stops what they're up to. So Moat is a definite go. All right, we're going to fight again on my end step. Okay, get countered by Prohibit. It's going to be tough. This is the problem. I don't think they're going to have the card capacity to pick a fight on my end step. All right, they're going to try to pick a fight. Continue to pick this fight. It's like a power sink of some sort, or like a stroke. They don't know about Mana Leak, right? So if they tap one more land, I can Mana Leak them, which is very nice. Because a lot of these cards are obviously losing some equity. Alright, just get mana leaked. Alright, I guess I'm not discarding again. I still have Fact or Fiction and Moat in my hand. We're going to fight some more. Or are we finally done? I would love to be able to Force Spike on turn 19. Turn 19 Force Spike for value. I think I'm going to get to here. I think Force Spike is going to find its home in this matchup. All right, tap the other one. All right. You know, I could just pay it. If I pay it, let me count here. So if I do Force Spike, then I have Drain, Remand, and Disallow, and Force of Will up. Yeah, you go ahead and Force Spike this. I don't know what you're even trying to get back with Snapcaster, but yeah, okay. I was going to say, I think I do Force Spike there just because it makes sense to be able to. Dispel would be nice, but I'm not sideboarding here, so Dispel would be very nice. I would love to take my Vitulkan Shackles out and like all the Wraths of God. Probably get some like Graveyard Hate and like the Dispel. That would be very nice, but we're not going to be cheaters. We're playing German Highlander right now is the rendition of Highlander we're playing, and German Highlander does not have sideboards. I mean, this hand's kind of interesting, right? Because like I think it's a keep. But it has some weakness in this matchup. Like, Oblivion Ring is a dead card. It's already a 6-card hand. I'm going to keep this and just hope it's not a really, really fast match where they just have the Tide. I do think High Tide has a pretty good matchup against us, so I think a pretty sure way to lose is to go down to just less cards than you can possibly ever use. All right, so this, go, and then I probably will get the... Back to Basics was bad last game. It wasn't, like, great. So we don't really want that. We'll probably end up getting just Search for Isconti here. Okay. I'm not going to play this yet because they could be running Portent in their deck, and if they Portent my top deck after I Enlighten Tutor for Search for Isconti, I feel like a dummy for having done it response for F6 value, even though I really want an F6 here. But I think it makes sense to Enlighten Tutor here and then just jam our spell, because we don't have counter magic, so we could create a false story that we do. But I think we also want to build up to pay out on our Treasure Cruise as well, and then just, yeah. And Search for Isconti is also ramp, which is not an irrelevant aspect of the card. All right, what else you got? All right. All right, this will be going for a Tundra. Tundra. Enlighten Tutor. Search. Spell Pierce? Hopefully not. They got it. Nope, okay. Well, if we get some time with Search, I feel pretty confident that's going to be strong in this matchup. That's my strongest enchantment in this matchup by far. I don't think Oblivion Ring really does much. It does a little bit. I mean, it gets like the Candelabra of Thanos, but... Yeah, I'm going to ditch that because I already have other lands. Okay, go. Intuition. Pier's fine. I'm not going to try to stop Pier. Pier, notable combo card. Cannot find anything but instants and sorceries, so you are committed. What did they find? Ideas Unbound. That is a sick card. Very cool card. You don't see it a lot. I tried running it in my 3-color Storm. I was not happy with it, though. It's really a High Tide only combo card. Okie doke. What do I find here? Probably Force of Will? Force of Will? Maybe. That may actually end up making the most sense. Alright, if they counter this, I'm actually happy. I actually want to draw land here. I mean, I don't. Maybe I don't want to draw land. I want to draw a counter spell, but like I already have a counter spell, so I'm kind of happy if they fight over this because I'm not going to fight back. Are you going to get it? I think they are. I mean, I have my land drop already, but it obviously comes at the cost of an island, and it's kind of in like the early parts of the game where like you don't giving up an island is kind of a sacrifice here. All right, it happens. All right, so I could also find just brainstorm. I actually like that. It's good 2-for-1 value. It's good in the blue matchups. Could also just discard it, right? Nope. This land is risky. If they have like Cryptic Command of their own and they bounce my land, I will be not happy. It'd be rough. Rough beats. Alrighty. What would we get with this? It's not actually dig through time here, I don't think. I mean, we're going to go tutoring. They can counter it if they want. They know this is a bad thing to counter. I know they know it's a bad thing to counter. That's why I got it. All right, you mystical teachings as well. Okay, you're going to force of will my mystical teachings? That'd be bad. They could spell pierce it. They slammed that with an alacrity like they were like really hoping to make that play. I don't think that's per se good. If they force of will, this would be good. Alrighty. Alrighty, they get force of will. I guess I could get force of will too. I could do that. Or I could just get Illume. Sure. We'll get force of wills. Oh yeah, that's going right to the yard. Yes, I do. Okay, I really want to hit land this turn. Oh, but I should be able to, right? Do I want to lose the back half of this thing? No, I don't. So let's undo this. Let's tap this. I think it's pretty poor value to lose the back half of Mystical Teachings. And they can force of will this, obviously, but then I can just, miscalculation their force of will, which would be savage, right? Okay. Okay, Sunken Hollow. Well, can you win on your end step? I don't know if they can or not. I don't think they can. I don't tend to think they can. Do I need double white here? Yeah, I kind of do. That said, I don't think damage is that relevant here. I'm just going to take it. Maybe you can tutor a lot and do all that, but I think we're going to be okay here. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not force of willing into your force of will. All right, you can have this and this, or all of the lands, I think. Okay. Let's check what they took. All right, they took the 2 cards. Cool. Spell Pierce, yep. And go, my friend. Now the name of the game is just Value Town. I've got Soldevia Excavations to scry every turn. I've got Search. I've got Mystical Teachings. And I think, yeah, well, are they up on mana? They have 5/7. I've got 6, but this is a 2-lander. The Soldevia Excavations is. Alright, produces 1 in a blue. Because you have to sack an island to even play the darn thing. So we're actually at mana parity here. Alright. Leave up double counter here. That's why I'm using the Excavations as opposed to using it to scry. Because I want to leave up Pierce plus like Memory Lapse or something. And I guess Force of Will. This is Kanta does need to be dealt with at some point by them. Okay, fact seems good. Probably just discard the Oblivion Ring here. Or if they oblige, I can fight them on my end step, which is kind of nice too. I'm actually going to try to start using the Soldevia Excavations with Caracas here as the colorless mana, so I can start putting lands on top of my deck as well. Sure, take a look. We're going to troll a little bit here. That seems decent. I mean, this is what Search for Kanta does, though, right? These games, as they get to like turn 7 or 8, like your hand just, these standoffs. This is essentially like a mono green versus mono green, like limited, like where you get like creature standoffs, where like, they just sit there and look at each other. It's kind of like old school Magic in a way, right? Except we haven't expended our resources yet. And they are continuing to make land drops, as I am not. But they are a high tide deck, so my mana resources should be. The problem they're going to run into is they do have a lot more combo pieces and cantrips as well. Just go look in here. Alright, go ahead and counter this thing. I just want lands to this. Like, whatever pile they give me, it's going to be all. I'll take all lands, basically. Can you mill me? They could definitely draw a bunch of cards into their hand on my or on their own end step, but then they're going to discard them. So like Stroke is kind of rough here. They could stroke their own hand and like draw up to a bazillion, but then they're going to discard down to 7 again. All right, yep, that's cool. I'm not countering that. You got it. They get something to counter this, like a Spell Pierce or something, but again, I don't really care that much. I mean, I would like to have the Fact or Fiction resolve. It'd be nicer than not having it resolved, but I don't think it's going to be that relevant. But I do need to start hitting some land drops. Not hitting land drops is how they're going to eventually, or they could possibly overwhelm us. Because our hand is very solid. Just need to be able to cast our cards. All right, Giga Drowse is a tapper. That's a replicate spell, right? Yeah. All right, well, I'll take land and whatever else they give me. How many non-basics they have? Not many. I guess I could take dig through time as well just to make more land drops. Very easy pickup there. All right, we know what's coming here. Giga Drowse is coming, so let's land our Teferi. All right. We'll ditch the... Well... Okay. Miscalc easily the worst counterspell I had in hand. I do want to start making more land drops here. Giga Drowse could get us pretty hard on end step. The one saving grace is we still have Teferi to untap some of our stuff. So I think it made sense to slam there because we know Giga Drowse can just get us on one big turn. They actually may time out, too. Alright, Muddle Eye. Cannot stop that. I do not have Disallow. I suppose I could look for a Disallow now. Just going to let it happen. Alright, Demonic Tutor. Okay. Doke. Do some digging through time. We're going to bounce one of their lands back to their hand here. So I think tying them down on mana permanence is actually more relevant than drawing cards. So I have cards kind of on a lock right now. And here, unless they have a 1-mana counterspell, like a spell Pierce, we should be able to get them with our own Pierce if they try to do a 2-mana counter here. They're trying not to discard. I'm forcing them to discard. And actually taking them back a land drop, which is actually a pretty net positive play at this point in the game. Okay. I do want cheap, efficient counter magic, which is why I took Snare here. I need like basically 1 and 2 mana counter magic to make this work, and free counter magic like Force of Will, which because when they Giga Drowse me, I'll get to untap 2 with Teferi if he's still in play, and then I can leave up Snare for like whatever 2 mana thing I need to get, and then Pierce and Force of Will. All right, Past in Flames. All right, okay. I need to put a clock on him as well, right? Yeah. All right, clock. Soldiers. Draw. All right, more landage. They can't quite drowse me here, I don't think. Yeah, they can't drowse on their turn anyways, unless they want to do second main win. And I was bet there's a way to win the game, so like that's going to make the upward mobility of Giga Drowse a little worse. We do have Force of Will in hand, so that's a thing. Yeah, we gotta put the pressure on him. This deck is not good at putting pressure on people. That's kind of why it tends to have tough matchups with Storm decks like this. Yeah. Get back a counterspell. Okay. I will allow them to have that. They just got rid of their counterspell. I don't... Oh, okay. All right, maybe they meant to. Maybe I don't understand what they're doing. I'm confused, though. All right, yep, you got it. Maybe they're trying to cause me to fight that? I don't really care about counterspell. It's not really great in this situation, I don't think. Okay. All right, go ahead. Oh, fetch land gives me a third mana because I can pop the fetch land in response to Giga Drowse targeting it. Which is kind of cool. So I've got 2 lands that Teferi will bring back. I've got fetch land as well. I mean... Might as well. I could also recast Teachings. I just don't think there's anything better for me to get. Gideon's pretty good, though. It's better than Absorb. Right now, I don't think it's about counter magic, to be honest. I think it's about killing them before they get me. Alright, so we said fetch land is better than most other things. So this, sure, this, and this. Gideon. Just got to put an end to him as fast as we can. Again, they could Giga Drowse at any point in time. So, like, again, I don't think it really matters. And if they counter this, I'll probably allow. Do I allow them to? I may or may not. I don't know. It depends on how I really use Giga Drowse. Because that card has me a little spooked. I mean, the replicates are just separate spells, so what are you going to do about it? Alright, yep. You... Actually, they could do this post, they could tap my lands down post Teferi, right? Yeah, that's true. That's bad. Alright. Alright, Giga Drowse. It's time for the Giga Drowse. Which is basically like a much less efficient turnabout, but much more difficult to counter turnabout. Yep. Can't stop it. Replicate's one of those things. Okay. 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 Alright, I got 2 lands. Cool. Alright. You go, my man. Alright, see Chrome, get out of here, you. I don't quite have them dead next turn. I have them down to 2, right? Because I can do 12. Elspeth's definitely not at ultimate. Well, we'll see if they can pull it out here. They may be able to. I mean, I only have basically 2 to 3 counter spells. Alright. Bad news bears time. Spell snare. But I've been searching a lot too, so I mean, having that's not, like, per se the greatest. Pay 2 more. Just trying to donk their mana right now. Trying to basically do the same thing they just did to me with Giga Drowse. Giga Drowse is completely uncounterable because it's like 20 spells. You know, you basically spend the same amount of mana anyways, okay? And here's the next question. Do they have another blue card they really need in hand? Because they have Force of Will too, but I'm going to make them pitch it. No? Okay. Well, you counter my snare. On 2 mana, what else could you have? I think we just got there against the Giga Drowse. Alright, more lands. That could be bad. Alright, we got to get untap. Wow. Alright, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll scry. Take a look. Because I kind of want interaction at this point. We'll bottom that. Sphinx's Rev seems good. Alright, let's get in there. Yeah, it's fine. Can you get there? It's got to be right now. Woo! This has been a lengthy game, guys. This is going to be a cool video to watch. So if you really enjoyed Blue on Blue Hate, then I think you guys will enjoy this. If you do not, well, this match probably is horrendous to watch because it is very tedious, time-consuming. What is this getting back? I don't really know. Okay. Maybe Ideas Unbound? I feel like they're going to have to do something that taps out at some point to win this turn. So, like, why, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. I will lapse this. Because, again, if they fight this, then they're pretty low for, okay. Impulse. All right, complicate, but tap out, basically. Basically using the... he could pay for the Force of Will, is what he can do, but then he's out of mana, and he gets to find his High Tide and then die on the next turn to my 1/1s. So I think it was a pretty cool and well-played match. All right. Cool, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. That was High Tide Storm, or High Tide Stroke versus Blue-White Control. So pretty cool matchup. I think habitually or historically, at a minimum, the High Tide decks tended to do pretty decent against the more controlling builds of blue, but, you know, was a cool game. I definitely enjoyed it. One of the frailties that our deck has against what I would assume is probably like a 2 to 3 creature deck is that a lot of our stuff, like our Wrath of Gods and stuff like that, are just kind of dead cards, whereas they have more of a they're more of a streamlined combo deck. They're intended to be a combo deck. So all of their cards are more proactive than ours are. Ours are reactive, and they have probably the same amount or more counter magic and cantrips. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Good games, MTG Shark. I definitely appreciated it, man. And I'm going to put this video up, and you get to go through, watch how I played my hand, and hopefully, I know you watch some of my videos. Hopefully it's beneficial as you're going through your build process and your play process with your cool High Tide Storm deck. Appreciate the games, and guys, hope you enjoy it, and have a good New Year. Bye now.